Are you thinking about buying your first home in Hamilton, but not 100% sure which neighborhood is going to be right for you? That's totally normal. Most first-time homebuyers feel the same way when they start looking, especially in a city like Hamilton, where the value can differ quite a bit from one street to the next. In this video, I'll be walking you through the best areas in Hamilton for first-time homebuyers to be considering based on value, lifestyle, and budget. And just as important, I'll also be showing you which neighborhoods that you might want to be thinking twice about, because knowing where not to buy is just as important. Hey, my name is Steve LoPresti. I'm a real estate agent here in Hamilton, Ontario, and I help first-time home buyers just like you to make their first move and do it the right way. So if you are a first-time buyer, this video will help you pick which area makes the most sense based on your goals. I've broken up the different neighborhoods into 3 categories: affordable, up and coming, and best long-term value. The goal here is not necessarily to bash any particular neighborhood. Some are going to be better for some people than others will be, but it's just to help you come up with a reasonable idea of what each neighborhood has to offer so you can pick the best one for you. And feel free to reach out at any time if you have any questions whatsoever. All right, let's get into it. Let's start with the question that I get most often from first-time buyers, which is, where can I actually buy without stretching myself too thin? If your budget is in the $400,000 to $550,000 range, which is fairly common for first-time buyers with a single income, then there are still quite a few neighborhoods in Hamilton that will be very solid for you. The first area we have is Crown Point. This is one of the most popular entry-level points in Hamilton right now. It's affordable, walkable, and the homes, while a little older, they still offer some pretty solid value. You'll find smaller detached houses and semi-detached in the 400 to 600 range here, depending on size and condition. This area is close to Ottawa Street Shops, Gage Park, and plenty of transit. This is also a great area if you like older homes and don't mind doing a little bit of cosmetic work. Downside to this area is that not all the streets are the same, and some areas are still transitioning a little bit. You might walk down a street and see a cute bungalow on one corner, and then the next you'll see boarded up windows. This isn't to say that the area is unsafe, it's just a little bit uneven. Some streets have seen more investment than others, but if you're willing to wait a little bit, those less polished areas tend to catch up in value over time. All right, the next area we got is Homeside and Normanhurst. If you're working with a tighter budget, especially below $500,000, then these neighborhoods over in East Hamilton might be worth a look. These areas might not be the most aesthetically pleasing for your Instagram reels, but they still offer good value for the right type of buyer. In this area, you're seeing detached homes under $500K, which is becoming increasingly rare in Hamilton. You'll find a mix here of original owner homes that have been owned for a long time and some investor renovated flips. So the houses in this area and the lots tend to be a little bit smaller, but they're still got some good bones and they're still relatively affordable. So if that's been an issue for you, this area might be one worth checking out. Especially considering that you can still get a detached home without any condo fees, that's worth considering. And as with any East Hamilton area, or any area really for that matter, you're going to want to walk the streets to get the feel for them before you buy something. Now, if you're open to an area that's still developing or hasn't quite hit its peak yet, these next few areas are going to be a perfect balance of lifestyle and potential future value. First up, we have Stinson. Sitting just southeast of downtown, this is one of the more underrated pockets in the city. In this area, you'll find a lot of beautiful century homes, converted duplexes, loft homes, 2.5 stories, and the lot sizes usually aren't super big here compared to some of the other areas you might find in Hamilton, but they're still relatively decent. If your budget can handle it, this area is a little bit higher in price, usually in the $600,000 to $700,000 range. And this is one of those areas where if you pick the right spot, it could really pay off in the next 5 to 10 years, as there's a lot of development going on. There's a lot of restoration happening here. But again, like I said before, you're going to want to walk the streets and make sure that it's right for you. Now, if you're looking for another neighborhood that's on the rise but still has plenty of room to grow, then the North End is going to be a good option for you. This area sits right along the waterfront and has seen some major investment in recent years, like the West Harbor GO Station, the Pier 8 redevelopment, and then just some revitalized parks and public spaces. Detached homes in this area typically fall between $500,000 to $700,000, and there's quite a range depending on your price point and preferences. With this area, you're going to be walking distance to Bayfront Park, James Street, Art Crawl, and cafes, restaurants, and everything else that is great about Hamilton. This is an area that's loved by younger buyers and people moving from the GTA who still want a little bit more of that waterfront access without obviously having to deal with Toronto prices. Now let's talk about some areas that aren't just good now, they're good for the long haul. These are great if you're planning to stay in Hamilton long term, or you're planning on starting a family and you want to establish some deep roots in the city. First up, we have East Mount, which is the central East Mountain, and this is one of the best kept secrets for first-time buyers. The mountain is typically one of the more preferred areas in Hamilton for people to move to, but one of the problems with it is that it can be a little bit more expensive, especially for some first-time buyers if affordability is an issue for you. But the East Mountain is great because it's still quite affordable. You have similar prices to some of the ones that you'll see down the mountain. This area is mostly older homes, bungalows, and side splits. There's a lot of solid homes on quiet streets, and there's plenty of potential to grow here. And the lots are typically quite a bit bigger as well, so you'll have more of a yard in these neighborhoods and maybe some of the ones down the mountain. Prices in this area will be typically around $550,000 to $700,000 depending on size, condition, and upgrades. There's a good mix in this area of original owner homes and newly renovated ones. What really stands out about the East Mountain is you have a relatively mature neighborhood with pretty good walkability to the concession street shops that we have here. You also have access to trails along the escarpment and a very short commute downtown. And all of this without feeling like you're in a very dense or chaotic part of the city. So this is a very solid area if you want to start setting some deep roots and growing over time. Now, if you're looking for more space, newer construction, and you don't mind a bit of a commute, then Binbrook might be the place for you, especially if you're thinking long term. Now, as you can see on this map, it's more on the outskirts, but it still is technically a part of Hamilton. Also, don't ask why it's a triangle this time. I don't know. I just felt like doing it that way. Binbrook has grown quite rapidly in the last 10 years, thanks to a huge wave of suburban development that is aimed at younger families and people who are priced out of Hamilton's downtown core. You'll mostly find two-story detached homes and townhouses that were built in the 2000s or newer. And prices typically range from $650,000 to $800,000. The homes are going to be move-in ready with open concept layouts, finished basements, attached garages, which are a lot of features that aren't too common, especially in the lower city. The trade-off with this is that there's pretty much no walkability, there's very little transit, and there's no GO station anywhere nearby. You're gonna need to have a car for pretty much everything. But for the right buyer, especially couples or young families who want to stay put, Binbrook offers great long-term value. Binbrook is a great spot for buyers who have a little bit more of a budget and want to be away from some of the downtown congestion, but don't necessarily have the budget to be buying in areas like Ancaster or Waterdown. Now that we've gone through the areas that are going to be the best for first-time buyers, let's talk about the flip side. There are a few pockets in Hamilton that I typically recommend buyers approach with caution, especially if this is your first home or if you're relying on long-term appreciation or resale value, or if you're just not familiar with Hamilton in general. To be clear, I'm not here to bash neighborhoods. Every area has good streets and bad ones, but as a first-time buyer, you want to make sure you're doing your due diligence, and you might not want to be the first one to hope that things will change in these areas. All right, the first up, we have the industrial sector, which is in Hamilton's North End. Now, if there's one area that I recommend buyers approach with caution, it's Hamilton's industrial North End. At first glance, you might spot some really affordable homes in this area, and it's true, the prices are lower than average, but there's a reason for that. The area is still heavily industrial with active steel plants, shipping yards, and rail lines surrounding residential pockets. You'll be dealing with a lot of truck traffic, noise, and some air quality concerns as well. And one of the biggest concerns about this area is the scenery. It's not really the nicest to look at when you go out your front door and there's just a huge factory with plumes of smoke coming out of it. So while the sticker price on the homes in this area might be good, the lifestyle trade-offs are quite real. Unless you have a specific reason to be living there, like your family lives nearby or it's a shorter commute for you, then most buyers typically choose to go elsewhere. That's not to say it's completely off the table. If you don't really care too many about any of those concerns I brought up and affordability is a big thing for you, then that could still be a solid option. That's also not to say that it won't change someday, but for a first home where you want some peace and stability, there are simply better options for you throughout the city. Another area I recommend that first-time buyers approach with caution is the Lansdale, Gibson, and Stipley neighborhoods. Now again, this isn't a hard no. There are definitely some well-renovated homes in these areas, and these neighborhoods have been gentrifying quite a bit in the last few years, but it's still a very hit-or-miss neighborhood cluster. And here's why. The housing stock is very mixed. You'll see some beautifully restored homes next to boarded up duplexes. Crime and safety concerns still come up quite a bit in these areas, especially around Barton Street. And there's also a higher concentration of vacant storefronts, absentee landlords, and social housing than most buyers realize at first glance. Now, a lot of listings you'll see in this area will look great on paper, big homes, well staged, nice and bright, but what happens on the street kind of gives you a little bit of a different vibe. Now, again, it's not fully off the table. I just recommend that you spend a little bit more time researching the specific street that you're on, visit it at different points in the day, especially at night, and see if you'd actually be comfortable living there. Now, if you're still trying to figure out which neighborhood makes the most sense for you, especially as a first-time buyer, I've got something that will help. It's called the First-Time Homebuyer Survival Guide, and it walks you through the entire process of buying your first home step by step, including how to choose the right neighborhood. It's completely free, so check out the description on this video if you're interested. So to recap, the right neighborhood for you is going to be quite different than the right neighborhood for somebody else. It really depends on your timeline, what you're comfortable with, how much change you're comfortable with, and most importantly, your budget. Some areas might offer a little bit more affordability, but also might require a little bit more patience. So whether it's Crown Point, East Mountain, or Stinson, the right area is out there for you. You just need the right map in order to find it. If you want help comparing the different options and planning your move, you can reach out to me. I help first-time buyers just like you every week plan their moves in Hamilton and pick which neighborhood is right for them. So if you're interested in that, you can find my contact info in the description of this video. And if this video was helpful for you, just hit that button over there with my face on it to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more videos like this one. And then check out this video over here for some more Hamilton real estate tips. All right, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.